This is a special edition of Dreamland with Art Bell. Now, filling in for Art, here's Whitley Strieber.
This is Whitley Strieber. It's Dreamland. Tonight we have a great show. We are privileged to have Dr. John Mack, the Pulitzer Prize winning author of Abduction and the new book, Passport to the Cosmos. Dr. Mack is a professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, founding director of the Program for Extraordinary Experience Research, and, in my opinion, now the world's leading authority on alien abductions. You will find out things from him and from his incredible new book tonight that you did not know before, that are going to make you realize that this is something worth thinking about very, very hard. You know, after I wrote Communion, I experienced what it was like to be a pariah and a national laughingstock. I had the experience of going on a Larry King show, sitting 2 feet away from Larry, and having him laugh in my face. I could smell his breath in front of his 2 million listeners, or watchers, I should say. It was hideous. It was agony. Then Dr. John Mack, M.D., Harvard professor, Pulitzer Prize winner, suddenly did something so extraordinary and so brave, it changed my life, Bud Hopkins' life, and the life of everyone who had ever had a close encounter and experience and was agonizing over it in one way or another. The derision ended. People began to take another look at this. They began to say, hey, maybe there's something in it. John Mack went to the wall for this. He nearly lost his license. He nearly lost tenure. He nearly ended up out on the street without a career, without a job. All on behalf of the fact that there is something extraordinary about the abduction experience. Tonight, we're going to have a conversation with a real hero, a hero of science, an American hero. When we come back, my hero, Dr. John Mack. This is Whitley Strieber. It's Dreamland. This is Whitley Strieber. We're back. Dr. John Mack is with us. John?
Hey, Whitley.
John, you just came back from a trip to India. Right? We'd love to hear a little bit about what happened there. Why did you go to India?
What happened was that a group called Synthesis put together a delegation of about 30 people with 70 supporters of that delegation at the invitation of the Dalai Lama to take a look at where we're going in the future, what can be done to address some of the conflicts in the world, some of the suffering that's going on, and every field was represented there, economics, politics, science, medicine, the media, education. And we spent several days, and His Holiness was deeply involved in this, and rarely that he gives that much time. And most of us were inspired to take back a kind of wisdom that we always receive when we meet with him, because on the one hand, he has such a complicated job being both the spiritual as well as the political head of the Tibetan people in their time of crisis. At the same time, he's a simple, loving human being without an attitude of vengeance and a great caring and very inspiring. And I think what we were able to bring was a sense that there are people in all these major fields who are with him in his values and ideals and with the Tibetan people. And this was an extraordinary time.
Why were you particularly invited?
Well, I knew the organizers well because we had worked together on something called the Parliament of World Religions in the summer of 1993. Brian Muldoon and Barbara Bernstein were the chief organizers, and they were particularly interested in people that were doing work that was on a kind of edge, whatever their field might be, questioning the economic system and economics, and in my situation, questioning really philosophical questioning of reality, questioning of what is the nature of the universe. They
Yes.
are very familiar with the work I've done with people who have had these extraordinary experiences, and they felt that that was an important area of possible transformation and change.
Was the Dalai Lama aware of the nature of your work?
Yeah, because we had met with him in 1992. He's had an interest in this all along. He sees this as an area that could mean something in terms of Western consciousness, and for the Tibetan people, or for Tibetan philosophy and religion, the universe is filled with beings of all kinds, some of whom can manifest in the physical world. So this is not an extraordinary matter for them, but the fact that this is gaining attention in the West is an extraordinary matter. So that was particularly what's been interesting to him, and how this can open up Western thinking to appreciate a much different kind of universe.
Well, it certainly is extraordinary to me, because I have, as you know, had experiences with beings that could be both physical and not physical. Being from a Western background, I was pretty surprised to discover that actually was real.
See, the problem we have in our philosophy in the West is we have a very vastly oversimplified notion of reality. Either it's literally physical, just like everything around us that you can touch and feel and smell, or it's in the realm of the imagination and then not materially real, but something that is in some senses not there physically, or comes from another dimension and we don't know where, and then manifests in the physical world. We don't have any place for that in the philosophy that has grown up in the last several centuries in the West, but that's not true in Tibetan culture or any of the philosophies and religions of the Far East.
Well, that's right, and so they're much more comfortable with this. And you, throughout Passport to the Cosmos, which, as I will be saying many times during the course of this program, folks, there is a remarkable deal on. You can get a signed copy of this book, signed by John Mack. And you don't have to go to a bookstore. You don't have to go to a book signing. You don't have to hope he's coming to your town. What you can do is you can go to www.peermack.org. That's PEERMACK.org.
I think there's a hyphen between the peer and the Mac, I'm told.
Well, it works all right without the hyphen.
Does it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm on it right now, and I'm looking at it, and it's fine. But you can do it with a hyphen too, if you'd like. And
Have it
go
well
to,
drilled by my supporters at home.
right. Go to Peer Purchases. Click on Peer Purchases, and you can get this book. And the price for a signed copy is an amazing $20. That's $4 off the regular bookstore price for a signed copy of Passport to the Cosmos. And let me tell you, I have read this book cover to cover. You know as well as I do that I don't read every book that we talk about on this show cover to cover. I read every word of this. It is awesome. Do not assume that it is a sequel to Abduction. It is far beyond that. John Mack has made a major breakthrough. Let's go on now, talking a little bit more about that breakthrough. One of the things that's so extraordinary about this book is the way you integrate